giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! Coming up today, we're going to talk about this Cowboys-Panthers game, maybe. Hopefully we can get to it. I wanted to look at their offense against the Cowboys defense. But before that, oh boy. Mr. Stephen Jones spoke with the media the other day, maybe yesterday. The real Cowboys general manager, but you know. And he set the stage for the offseason already. And spoiler alert, more of the same. We're going to talk about it, man. That will be the first part of today's show. Good morning, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
I'm smiling for many different reasons. First of all, I'm able to wake up, come in here, talk to you guys about the Cowboys, whether you know it's a sucky season or sucky situation or not. That's something to smile about. But I'm also smiling because as soon as I saw that Stephen Jones quote, I thought about Toxic Time. I can't wait to hear from Toxic today because I just know that had your blood. I mean, it has all of our blood boiling, except those who put on the capes for said Joneses, which I'm still waiting for my guy Q to call in, man. Tell me why what Stephen Jones said is amazing and great and what's best for the team moving forward and the reason why the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl. I'm exaggerating, Q, but call in, man. You know, still right here. 351-999-3787. You left me hanging yesterday. We ain't like that. So we gonna give you one more chance here. One more chance to state your case on why the Joneses are the greatest of all the times. Shouts out to Santino? What's my man's name? WWE. The greatest of all the times. John Cena. Let's get into this roundup, man, because not only are we going to talk about what Steven said, something else happened that rules out a potential coach for the Cowboys.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
One of the greatest coaches of all the times. Shout out to Santino Marella. That's his name. Bill Belichick is officially off the board, ladies and gentlemen. He will not be coaching the Dallas Cowboys or any NFL team for that matter because he has accepted the North Carolina job. He's heading to Chapel Hill on a 5-year deal to build up that football program. Wow. Now, we knew there was interest the last few days. Even yesterday, it was feeling like it was closer. And one of the funny caveats to this whole thing is, hey, I'll come coach you if you let my son take over, which is wild. It's madness. And I've been following my guy. Shouts out to my brother from another, Jesse Holly. He bleeds Tar Heel blue, right? Obviously graduating from there, winning the national championship in football. And his gift was hilarious yesterday when they signed Bill Belichick. But much like us, because now he kind of knows how it feels. He didn't want Bill Belichick. He got him. He's not happy with the decision, but he got him. At the end of the day, he's a diehard and he's going to root for him. And just like the Cowboys, we may not want XYZ. We may not be happy with XYZ, but we are going to pull and root for these guys. It's a kind of a toxic relationship. Now, Tar Heels football, I don't know if it's as toxic. I don't know. I don't follow Tar Heel football to that degree. But you can scratch Bill Belichick off the list. We had a lengthy conversation yesterday about him, so now we can end those conversations about Bill and start looking towards the future, which may not be much of a change because new day rocks. No, because Stephen Jones sat down or whatever it was, phone call. Shouts out to Nick Harris. He had a conversation with Nick Harris, formerly of .com, now working for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He sat down with Nick Harris, and Nick was able to kind of get some answers out of Stephen, where he pretty much forecasted another lame offseason. Here's a quote, and we're going to talk to you guys about this. First quote, I think we knew we were going to have a challenge in 24 and 2025. It's going to be really, really tight. We still have some money left over from guys who are not here today, and you're going to have some other guys that won't be here in the future that you're still going to have their cap count. Oh, Stephen Jones talking about that pie again.
That boy went crazy.
Oh, Stephen and that pie. Steven, you obsessed with the wrong kind of pie, bro. I'm just saying, man. Why don't you get like Bill? Bill got him a little 24-year-old thing, you know, like keeping himself busy, heading to college. Pocket full of blue chews. Steven, just go away. It didn't stop there. He talked about a specific player and guys getting opportunities and now having to pay for said player. And it plays right into what I have been talking about for years. He says, quote, guys are getting opportunities and guys are going to continue to get opportunities. I think Chauncey Golston has really stepped up. He's a free agent. I hate that because he's played his best football on the last year of his contract. I don't hate that for him. I hate it for us. Guys have stepped up and played well. Steven. Now, shouts out to the day ones here. Shouts out to the Bomb Squad once again.
Bomb Squad!
But there's some people who are new. There are a handful of people who don't know how I feel about the Cowboys and drafting and developing in that sense. But I've said this to you guys many a times, and Chauncey Golston is a perfect player. I'm glad he brought up Chauncey Golston because we've talked about this for many different players. When you draft and when you just draft and develop, there are instances where it will bite you in the ass. Yes, you'll hit on the Blands of the world and some of your top picks and guys like that, right? Of course, that happens from time to time. But when you draft those middle round guys, those third round, fourth round picks, usually it takes some time for these guys to get right. I mean, it either takes time or it takes opportunity. You hardly get a Deron Bland that's an all-pro in his second year, right? As a fifth round pick with 5 interceptions in his rookie season. Usually these guys take time or it takes time to get said opportunity. So as they're developing and as that time is passing, I've said it so many times, usually it takes year 3 or 4 for that dude to really show that, hey, this is a guy that you can depend on to be either part of the rotation or a solid starter. Nothing crazy because the Cowboys usually get solid guys for the most part, when they're top guys. And I'm looking at this Chauncey Golston situation. This is a perfect example. It took Chauncey's 4th year. Now he's flashed and he's had, solid production here and there throughout his first 3 years. Didn't always have the uber opportunity. He did at first, then he got overtaken by the Dante Fowlers of the world, and of course he should, right? But now he's getting more opportunity and he's more productive. He's in the final year. Chauncey's not a Pro Bowl player. He's not an all-pro player. I don't even think he's a needle-moving player in that sense of, hey, he's going to take you over the hump. But what he is he's a quality rotational player that could fill in as a starter and maybe be a quality starter, but nothing that's going to blow your socks off. Here's the problem. Chauncey's playing really good ball in his final year, and he can easily go into the market and probably get a contract that the Cowboys aren't comfortable paying for. Or the Cowboys say, that's our guy. We love our guy. So we're going to give our guy said contract that pays him more than maybe another team would have, i.e. The Michael Gallup, right? Like Michael Gallup would have never gotten that contract elsewhere, but he's our guy. We developed him. We yada, yada, yada. This is what it puts you in here. This is the game they continue to play. Because sure, let's say you pay Chauncey Golston, which I think he's deserved to get whatever bag he gets from wherever he gets it from. Let's say you pay him to stay here in Dallas. Fine. We could be looking at as another Dorrance Armstrong situation or Michael Gallup situation, whomever it may be, where it's like, man, what if we use that money to go get a better player? That's not a knock on those guys. It's just that you keep living in this fantasy land that your third and fourth and fifth round picks are going to be like these other free agents that are out there that can be better for you. And I'm not saying, again, for those who are new, I'm not saying you go out here and you spend $200 million every year. It's just that when you rely on this draft and develop, you got to look beyond the first round pick. The real guts of the team is what the Cowboys do on end of day 2 and day 3. Can those guys turn into dudes? It's hard for those guys to always turn into dudes. But if they play really well and they play themselves into a bigger contract, now you got this situation. Stephen Jones, man, I hate it. I hate it for us because we may have to pay him more than we want to, or we may have to let him walk because someone else will pay him. And it's an unfortunate situation because this ain't Chauncey's fault. This ain't Chauncey's fault. And with all due respect, you could probably get some Chauncey Ghosts. Hell, you drafted a Marshawn Nealon, who I think is an upgrade to that. But with all due respect, if you do now pay Chauncey Golston market value, or you're competing for Chauncey Golston in free agency, you're likely going to overpay for a Chauncey Golston when you could have used that money to get a dude, or use that money to trade for a dude. So you put yourself in this situation, man. I don't sympathize for them because they continue to do this. I just find it hilarious that he brought up the perfect player to describe why their process does not work. You can only draft and develop me to death so much. I've seen through the BS. But that's not even the most important quote. It's the one beforehand where he talks about the pie and the cap and allocating money to guys who are here or there. It is nothing but BS excuses that there are going to be a gang of fans that buy it. They're going to be a gang of fans that regurgitate the same thing over. Oh, $60 million. Oh, $100 million to the. When in reality, and shouts out to everybody that's done the legwork, many creators, fans, whatever, have done the legwork to show you the Cowboys are not cap strapped. Let me say that. They aren't. A click of a button here, there. They have enough money to now compete in free agency, in trades, whatever the hell they want to do. Extend guys, whatever they want to do. But they're already planting the seeds to gaslight you, Cowboys Nation, to the fact that, whoa, we can't do anything in free agency because we just paid this player, we just paid that player. And there's going to be people that buy it. Meanwhile, in your own division, they done paid 15 players, have more salary cap room than you, and the ability to create more. And likely will, because they aggressively try to win within a window. Which brings me to my last point. If you're not aggressively trying to win within said window, which they don't even do anymore, but I don't think they're aggressively going to try to bring in a new coach. as the weeks have waned on with more evidence and data, like legitimate evidence and data. There was no evidence or data prior to the last like 3-4 weeks, in my opinion. But with more of what the Joneses are saying, the more I feel like, well, why would you go out and get another coach? Why not bring back the guy that is okay with how this thing rolls? A guy that clearly Jerry said, man, I think he's amazing. I think he's great. He's a player's coach, so players like him, right? I'm getting even more worried that they run this thing back. And to be completely honest, of the big three coordinators, what are you going to call it? There's only one that has earned that to me. Mike Zimmer. And I've said this, I think it was to Jesse. If the new head coach, if there was one, wanted to bring back Mike Zimmer, then so be it. I'm all for that. But allow the new head coach to bring in the guys he wants. Don't dictate to that coach. We've been there. We've done that for the last two head coaches. Stop it. But I worry, Cowboys Nation, that this thing is just going to repeat itself quite literally from top to bottom because
the money.
Here we go.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
that man right there, along with his pops. I just beg you, Cowboys Nation, to not fall for it. Now, I know a lot of you guys who watch this show and many others, but specifically this one, y'all not going to fall for it because we are transparent with the BS. We bring receipts, we bring evidence, we bring data to show that their way does not work. But then there are people who are water carriers for said front office. And I can no longer sit back and let you help the Joneses poison the minds of Cowboy fans. Can't do it. So I call it out. And that's why I was like, hey, Q, come on in. Because I think it's BS. When I see people capping for these guys, I think it's BS. Because I'm not blind. A lot of people are blind. A lot of people only have tunnel vision for said team, Cowboys, right? Oh, we win games. We've been relevant. So we're doing all right. They don't allow themselves to use their peripheral vision and see the rest of the league and how it moves and how it works and what these things are that are working. So it's just frustrating. It's not frustrating that he said what he said because we kind of knew this is how they move. What's frustrating is twofold for me. One, it's only December and we're talking about this. So he's already planting the seeds to show you we ain't finna do nothing in the off season. Now he could come around in March and switch up. All right. And then the other part is that it sounds like we're quite literally just going to run back 2024 when he said, hey, we're going to be strapped for 24 and 25. It's not the case, man. Just don't buy it, please. Cowboys Nation, don't fight. Don't buy it. T Jack says Sky fighting a good fight. Man, I tried, bro. You know? Now, I won't get exhausted from fighting the fight for this. I won't, because I know this family isn't going anywhere. So I feel like I have to fight them. When it comes to calling out BS, whether it's for a player or a unit or whatever, those things are going to change. So sometimes I get exhausted at that, and I just say, well, eventually that'll change and it'll be over. But these guys aren't. So, and a lot of people will try to lead you to believe that they're doing a good job. They're not. They're not. Jackie says, Sky, why announce this at all? They want to do this. On my point, I don't know. I was gonna ask you guys because again, I can't think of one off the top of my head, or at least this season. Has there been any other general manager that has come out this year and said this season, hey man, we ain't gonna be able to do much in free agency or in the off season because of salary cap, or because we got and And maybe Ryan Poles said it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe some other general manager said it, but I don't know any other team that does this. Help me out. That way I can go look at how that guy moves. Even when some teams, i.e. the Chiefs, right, make a move that tells you, okay, they didn't want to pay this guy. They didn't believe that paying him would benefit the future cap, whatever you want to call it. They don't come out here and gaslight the nation. They move like the G in lasagna. Breaking news. Tyreek Hill traded for a gang of picks to the Miami Dolphins, right? Breaking news. Frank Clark or whomever traded for a gang. You know what I mean? And they're not out here like, well, we can't do X, Y, Z. Philadelphia Eagles. Breaking news. We done traded Hassan Reddick. He don't even want to play for them, but we still got a 3rd round pick off of him. They not out here sullying anybody's name and talking about a pie and cap and whatever. It's just. Yeah, Mark. Jerry did say he's the best general manager. Nobody can do it better than him. Funny thing is, you know, and I jokingly put the general manager tag on Jerry Jones because he loves to do it, but his son is the general manager of this team, and I've been saying it for a long time. Marcus Dub said it's our fault. First, I'll read the rest of your stuff, Marcus Dub. No. Stop this. I will not blame fans. Stop it. Now I'll read the rest. We keep buying this brand of mediocrity and the media can't call them on it for their jobs. Stop. We got to stop blaming fans for the incompetency of that front office. I get it. There's a movement of we have a voice and things like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have that type of voice to remove Jerry Wayne Jones and John Stephen Jones. I think that's his real name. I got to stop blaming fans, man. I got to stop doing that. If this was a different organization where fans' voices really do matter, right? Philly, they can get a coach up out of there. Maybe Detroit or whatever. Sure. This ain't that type of organization, man. I'm not blaming fans for being fans of the team and wanting to root for the team. They're not rooting for the Joneses. They're not doing that. They're rooting for the team. So I can't get behind that. I cannot get behind blaming fans for them. That's Rowdy's fault, says Professor O. James said, why would you blame the fans when the fans are the ones that want change? Facts. We're calling for change. I will call for change. I'm transparent with their BS and all that stuff, but I'm still going to root for my squad. I got to stop blaming fans, man. The media just makes fun of fans and the franchise all the time. They hardly call out the front office. I started to do what I do because I don't give a flying about the big media. I'm doing this because they're lazy. That's low-hanging fruit. That make fun of. I don't care about that, man. I truly don't. I do this for the fans that want more substance when covering this team. I've said it for years. They talk about the same three things: the quarterback, the head coach, and Jerry Jones. The quarterback, the head coach, and Jerry. Oh, now it's Micah Parsons, right? Because nowadays these players have podcasts and they don't like that. So quarterback, Micah Parsons, The head coach and Jerry Jones, the same thing. It's a money machine, so of course they're going to make fun of the Cowboys. Cowboys ain't winning. That's your fault. If you get emotionally attached to what First Take and Undisputed and Speak, whatever, if you get attached to what they're saying about just your team, that's on you. That's on you, because they're not going to give you the real. They are rage baiting to get those clicks and get that exact reaction out of you. They're making fun of us. No. Let me get in the comments and snap out at First Take or Undisputed in the YouTube clips. Perfect. They have it. They have it down pat. Hell, if I wasn't a Cowboy fan, I might mess around and do that. If I wasn't a Cowboy fan and I see how Cowboy fans react to this, oh, that's easy money. Easy money. I see some Cowboy fans, they now make a living on the Dak Prescott hate. And somebody said this, I think it was DMV, whomever it was like, man, there's a market, there's a niche. I shouldn't say make a living for hating on Dak Prescott. Like, all your videos are about Dak Prescott. He sucks. He shouldn't be here. He's the reason why the Cowboys suck and all this other stuff. Now, I don't know how much money they're making, if they're making any, because it may be just a little cult. But if I was a non-Cowboy fan, I'd probably have a YouTube channel just quite literally, like my man said, making fun of the Cowboys with the low-hanging fruit. Yeah. Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones, and Mike McCarthy. All my videos would literally be about just those four dudes, and I'd probably rack up 15,000 subscribers and all these views. Because there is so many Cowboy fans, and there's so many Cowboy fans that only take in that. I stopped taking that in a long time ago. I'm talking about a long time ago, because I was like, this is all we got? There's got to be something else for the Cowboys. This is it? Yeah, Anthony Gallup. He said they paid actors. Staring at themselves in the mirror backwards. Shouts out to O. Toxic, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to call in, man. I know you got the gospel today.
Oh, gosh. This is going to sound really cryptic, but, man, there's CEOs in this country getting dropped right now, and these two motherfuckers are still going to gaslight people. That's all I'm going to say on that regard. That's all I'm going to say. I learned an old lesson a long time ago. Speaking of what people said about they only make fun of us and, in the media, I learned a lesson a long time ago that says, if you're not buying the product, you are the product. And that is exactly what those people are doing. They know that when you put an article that's like, for instance, you say Cowboys signing a former Pro Bowler, and it's a overly sensationalized article just to get you to click. They do it to get views. Just know that they are banking on you being emotional. That's the whole point of this. And the worst part about it is
rage bait.
These boys, the Jones boys, that entire inbred family, they care about one thing, and that's making money. Now, I said in the past, it's not what a leader says, it's what a leader does. And I'm an accountant, if anyone doesn't know this. I love how money works and how it can make situations better, worse in anyone's walk of life. And if you look at the cash aspect of this team, and then if you go a step further and look at the cash around this family, the Jones boys have a publicly traded company. They're making money. They make plenty of donations to academic institutions. The money is there, people. They care about one thing, and that is their bottom line. I don't know of any general manager, hell, a CEO in sports or in the entire world right now, where if you are constantly putting out a shit product, but it's making you a hefty margin, it's not going to change. The only time it really needs to change is because if regulation comes or the money dries up. Sorry if I interrupted you.
No. I want to try something here. I want you to stay on the line.
Go for it.
Just stay here real quick. Because we got our guy Q calling into the show, and I'm very interested to hear Q's take on many things. Good morning. Good morning, Q. No. Stay here. Stay here, Tox.
Yeah. Good morning, Scott. How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. By the way, now that I got a chance to talk to you, don't take anything. You said it in the chat the other day. You don't take it serious. Please don't take it serious. We just having fun, brother.
Man, please. I'm 50. I'm 52 years old, bro. I've been a Cowboy fan since 1981, bro. Come on,
man. You've seen it all. Then you seen it all. So what's on your mind, man? What's on your mind? Talk to us.
Well, this is on my mind, man. I don't believe in any relationship you could put all the blame on one individual. Okay, that's not even logical. And you got Toxic Tom always talking about the Jones this, the Jones that. Listen, man, you can't always attack them for what they're not doing and not give them credit for what they do.
So what is it that? What is it?
Overshown.
Right. So Q, that's why I said I don't know how new you are here. We have talked many times about them being good at drafting. My stance has always been, sure, they may be good, but they have to be better because of how they move outside of drafting. Number one. The second point, real quick, if I may rebut, is when you said you can't blame one person. That's true, right? Like, obviously, if there's a pie of 100, right, 100%, it's hard to put 100% on one player or one person. I'm sorry. But there is a large majority percent on a organization who has a leadership that has been in leadership for 30 years and have not had success. So when you go back and you look at that organization and you try to find, okay, what is the one constant in said 30 years? It's the same two people, Quentin. So it's hard to not say, hey, man, most organizations, and even Jerry Jones said it himself, I would have fired myself if I was, if I wasn't the general manager. I would have fired that general manager. So I get why fans say, hey, man, this is because of one person. It's been 30 years, okay? And they haven't had success, real success, and they've been the one constant, Q. So if there's one constant in 30 years, how can you not say they are overwhelmingly the reason?
Okay, so Scott, let me ask you this question. Now remember, I'm an OG Cowboys fan, right? Remember this. Okay, 1995 NFC Championship. We're on the borderline of three-peating. Okay, we lose the NFC Championship game. Was that Jerry Jones' fault? We lost to the 49ers. I mean, let's just deal with facts, bro. That NFC Championship game. We can go back to the 2006. No, we go on the past 30 years, right? If
you asked me a question, and I was going to say, are you talking about the Super Bowl year? Or are you talking about the 94 championship they played in 95?
Yeah, the 94 championship we played in 95, where we had just repeated, won the Super Bowl back-to-back in 92, 93, okay? Yeah. We understand the split. Jimmy Johnson leaves, him and Jerry Jones against the argument. But we were in the NFC championship. We were about, if we'd have won that NFC title, we'd have went and played the Chargers. I'm a betting man. We probably would have won that Super Bowl. We probably would have repeated. So,
well, what did they do the next year?
This is my question. Hold
on, Q. Because what did they do the next year, right? They said, you know what? And if we're going to go back beyond the 30 years, because I don't know why, but sure. The next year they said, let me go out and grab a needle mover. Let me go out.
That's not behind 30 years. How is that behind the 30 years?
Well, 28 years. I'll round up, but it's been 28, 1995. But let me go back. Let me go grab a guy that we think will help us win the Super Bowl. And they went out and did that. And the one guy who didn't want to do that is still here, Quentin. That man, his name is Stephen Jones.
You know what, Scott? Okay, I hear you, but to be honest, if you look at the history of that whole situation, that was the worst move signing prime time. This is why. We only won one Super Bowl with him.
Sure.
And if you go back and Google the whole situation, hey man, Stephen Jones had set it up to where we would have re-signed Russell Maryland. We would have re-signed Alvin Harper. we would have resigned linebacker Robert. We lost a lot of free signing Deion wasn't even worth it to me.
Wow.
They were just trying to get him away from the 49ers. Man, come on, man. We won Super Bowl with them, bro.
Q, that sounds like a spoiled Cowboy fan because the Cowboys haven't even sniffed a Super Bowl in 28 years. I use 28 because you don't like to use the 30. In 28 seasons. So let me go back to my question because you never answered. You asked a question.
Okay.
You answered the question with the question. If a company, an organization, and we'll just use it football terms, has the same general manager or general managers or money man or whatever you want to call it for 28 seasons, and they have not sniffed a Super Bowl or NFC championship in 28 seasons, is it fair to put a hell of a lot of the blame on the leadership that has remained in 28 seasons? Yes or no?
I would say yes with the caveat.
What's the
So
caveat?
you always the caveat is each season is different. You have to look at what happened each season.
So if that's the case,
season
nobody should get fired, right? No general manager should ever lose their job because each season is different. Unfortunate injuries happen. Unfortunate ball bounced, all that stuff. But 28 years, Q. 28 years, Q.
Okay, but Scott. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Okay, I did answer your question, correct? I answered your question. Did I? Yes
Sure.
or no? Did I answer? Okay.
Oh, you said with a caveat, but yeah.
With the caveat. You funny.
Threw with that caveat up in there.
Okay. So, and this isn't me all about defending the Jones, because yes, there are things that I feel that they have messed up on. But this one thing right here, Jimmy Johnson, he was our GM, right? He was our coach when he was with us. He was our GM, correct?
Yeah, Jimmy did Jimmy pretty much did everything. Let's be real.
Okay. So my question is, when Jimmy Johnson, when we split and he went to the Miami Dolphins, why didn't he have the success he had with the Miami Dolphins that he had with us? Why not?
He didn't have it's different circumstances there. He didn't come in and make a Herschel Walker trade that set him up, right? He didn't do that in Miami.
Okay, good. I'm glad you brought that up because this is my next question. Come on now, listen, man. I've been divorced twice, all right? Okay, and in any relationship, you can't discredit the other individual. Everyone makes mistakes. Who allowed him to make the Herschel Walker trade? Who allowed him to do that?
So we're giving credit to Jerry Jones for allowing.
Answer the question, Scott.
I just
Scott,
said, hey, slow your roll, brother. Slow your roll, my guy. Slow your roll.
Okay. I just need you to answer the question.
Listen. So we're giving credit to Jerry Jones because he allowed the general manager to make the moves. Because let's be real, that was the general manager. It wasn't Jerry Wayne Jones.
I understand that. I understand that. I understand that. Jimmy Johnson's definitely the one with the eye for talent.
All right.
I get that.
So now thank you.
Owner still has to allow you to do it.
So thank you, Q, for the history lesson because you are the perfect Cowboy fan that I talk about all the time that loves to bring up the 90s and the back in the days and all that stuff. But what you don't understand what you just did is you just set yourself up. Thank you, okay? You just sat here and told me Jerry Wayne Jones gets the credit for allowing Jimmy Johnson, who was the de facto general manager of the team. The only reason you got 3 Super Bowls in the early 90s was Jimmy Jones. But okay, I will allow you to say, well, it's because of Jerry. Well, if that's because of Jerry, you keep trying to kick away the last 28 years. How was the last 28 years not because of Jerry? Okay, I got you, Tom.
Okay. Oh man. Cool. Oh, I'm glad I'm still here. I thought you would cut me off. Okay,
no,
so listen,
no. I got a question. You try to. I got you with Jerry Jones. Let him do it. Okay, so he gets the credit. Well, then he should get the blame for the last 28 years, right? According to your system of how this works, if the previous no. If the previous years in the early 90s was Jerry Jones, then what about the 28 years following? You can't.
First
You
of all,
you
Scott,
can't have your cake and eat it too, brother.
Scott, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said Jerry Jones would get all the credit for allowing Jerry Johnson to make the moves.
And I
Listen,
never said
right,
all. I said, is it fair for people to say majority and a gang of the issues and the problems and whatever you want to call it is because of the two people who have remained here through 28 seasons? I think it's fair for people to say that, brother. I do.
Man,
And
that's not fair because you would have to go season by season. You would literally have to go to in order to really make that argument. You would literally have to go season by season. They had injuries, people were tired, you know. And then what this is what I don't like about y'all. This is what I don't like about y'all. Y'all don't want to give them credit for finding dudes like Omarion, my man Overshown, just
lies.
Just that injury.
Who's y'all? Who's y'all? So don't lump me in with people.
You know.
Don't lump me in with people if you don't watch my show. Okay? If you don't watch my show,
I do watch your show.
Don't lump me in.
You do it reluctantly, Sky.
What do you mean reluctantly?
You give them credit for drafting reluctantly, Sky. You do it reluctantly.
What does that even? So see, you keep on pushing this goalpost somewhere it don't need to be. The hell's reluctantly mean? There ain't no participation points here. They draft well. I've said it many times. I sat here talk about finding DeRon Blands, the demos, the whomever else in the 4th and 5th and whatever rounds. I am just telling you, because of how they operate outside of the draft, Q, is it not good enough? How can you watch this and say it is good? And it has not been good enough. How they move, and it's because of how I see the rest of the National Football League move. They don't rely on one thing. They partake in many different areas of team building, and it has helped many different teams surpass the Cowboys in 28 years. The freaking Jacksonville Jaguars, the Detroit Lions, the laughing stocks of the league at one point. The Rams were a laughing stock of the league at one point. All these teams, the Arizona Cardinals went to Moss. The Rams were not great in the 90s. The Rams were not great in the 90s. The Arizona Cardinals have went to the Super Bowl and multiple NFC Championship games. Your division rivals have been and won multiple Super Bowls within the last 28 years, doing it the way that the league has showed you to do it. Your own general manager has told you, we don't want to do it that way. We don't, because this is the way we believe works, and because this is what I love about my team. I like to put them in the headlines. I like to get people talking. That is if I'm doing my job if they're talking about us. That is the words of your general manager.
Because I got something for you with that.
Go ahead.
I got something for you. Are you done? Okay. So you're saying that they never signed free agents. They just depend solely on the draft, and the whole league is showing them what to do, right? Is that your argument?
No.
I want to make sure I'm getting a correct understanding.
No, I did not say they never signed free agents. They signed free agents. They signed barrel load free agents. They I think it was a year I talked about 2007 or 6 when they went out and got Leonard Davis. I think it was Mark Henry. That's my wrestling. Anthony Henry. 2007. Yeah, okay, Anthony Henry. Right. When Bill Parcells got here, Mark Rivera. My man from the Jets, they signed some guys. Parcells wasn't the coach in 2007. He had left. Wade Phillips was the coach in 2007. I know. I said when Parcells was here, they signed Marco Rivera. They signed, I think it was Ferguson. They signed guys that he wanted to fit his scheme. So they've signed free agents of that ilk. What's the one dude, the defensive tackle, Leroy Glover. And now we're talking early 2000s or what have you. I'm not saying they've never signed. They've never signed free agents. I never said they never signed free agents. I said, and I've said many a times, the Cowboys lean way too heavily on draft and develop, and they refuse. Stephen Jones has said it. I refuse to partake in free agency. They get scared. They literally signed Brandon Carr, which I don't think was a bad. I thought Brandon Carr was fine. You switched up the scheme on him, but whatever. And he constantly uses Brandon Carr as an example as to why he will never partake in free agency again. When a general manager says, I am never going to do X, Y, Z because of what I did now 12 seasons ago, most teams would not have that general manager around, especially when there hasn't been success.
This is the one thing I will say this. They should have signed Derrick Henry. I definitely believe they definitely should have signed Derrick Henry. Okay, for whatever reason, I don't know if they end up in his sport.
You know the reason.
Yeah, well, okay, but hold on, Sky. Hold on, Sky. 2007, we had 13 Pro Bowlers. A lot of those guys were free agents, which you just alluded to, correct?
Yeah, Ken Hamlin. I think he was signed to a cheap deal and became a free. It's the Hamlins of the world are no different. Anthony Henry, a cheap deal.
The cornerback. So Sky. So let me ask you a question. They signed all of those Pro Bowlers, and they were the number one seed in the playoffs, right? 2007, we were the number one seed.
Somebody said, "Bro, it's 2024."
No. Tell them to shut up because we're talking about the 2007 season because you're the one who just brought it up, right?
Well, I brought up because you said they never signed free agents, so I went to a season where they signed some free agents prior, and I went into the Bill Parcells seasons too. Parcells signed free agents when they had a new coach. When they got new coaches, and this is what shocked me about this past offseason. I don't know how long you've been here, but I did a whole breakdown. Usually when they have a new defensive coordinator, they average something along the lines of like 7 or 8 free agent signings. Now, none of them are big deal signings, but still, and they didn't do anything in free agency. And that was a shocker to me, but that's
okay. Okay, so let me pose this question to you. So the past 3 seasons, yes, we have playoff failures, but 12 wins, 3 seasons in a row, regular season. We're not talking about playoffs, okay? And those 12 wins were without signing top free agents other than Gilmore, Stephon Gilmore, correct?
No, that was a trade. That was a one-off trade. Yeah.
So we had 3 seasons of 12-5 records. And we understand what happened in the playoffs. In the playoffs, we get out coached. I think you already alluded to that. In the playoffs, they just get out coached. I don't know what happened. But we can't say that they haven't had successful seasons not signing top tier free agents.
I'm glad you went there because we're stuck in this free agent thing. We're stuck there because that's the conversation. But you mentioned something right there that you can't gloss over. It's not just free agency. You said we got what now? Out coached, right?
We got out coached. Right.
Who's hiring these yes men over the hill are not good coaches?
God. Bill Parcells.
Q. Answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Who's hiring the over the hill or not? Thank you.
Okay,
case closed.
Case closed. Okay. No. Let me ask you a question though. Did Jerry Jones hire Bill Parcells also?
Yeah, he hired Bill Parcells.
And he walked all over him.
Go ahead, Tox.
Okay. Now, the only playoff game, we appeared in 2 playoff games with Bill Parcells. We lost to Carolina, then next year I think we lost to Seattle. But Bill Parcells lost both of his playoff appearances as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Is Bill Parcells a yes man?
Wait, Q. Are we talking playoffs now, or are we talking regular? Because for whatever reason, you just dismissed the playoffs and you talk about regular season. I don't know why. Because this is the Dallas Cowboys. This isn't the Jaguars. This isn't the Browns. This isn't the Detroit Lions. We are more than regular season. We are about the playoffs, brother. And we have 4 playoff wins in 28 seasons, and the 2 people who are responsible for that that have been here for 28 years are still here, but you putting on this cape for them, and I can't for whatever reason understand why.
I'm not putting on a cape for them, so I'm just saying you can't blame them for everything.
Brother,
you can't blame them for everything.
I've said to you already, and I'll say it again, I don't know if you got hard of hearing, but you can, I believe you can put a majority of the blame on them. I said it. If you have a pie of 100%, sure, I'm not going to put 100% on one particular player or person, but I'm going to put a large majority on the people who've been here for 28 seasons that have not done anything to get them over the hump. How is that not easy to understand or comprehend? I don't get it.
I have a question for you, Ty.
That's all you got is questions, bro. You ain't got no answers, Q. So I'm gonna give you one last in closing. I'm gonna give you one last in closing. I don't want a damn question. Just give me a statement so we can get to some other callers on the horn, because all you keep doing is asking questions. I'm the host. I'm supposed to be asking you questions for you. But go ahead, bro.
This is the statement. Bill Parcells was head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and he lost both of his playoff games.
Yep, and he walked out soon as Jerry Jones said, you can't cook the groceries or pick the groceries. He said, I'm out. Peace. and they never hired a guy like him
He
again.
never said that with us. He said that with the Jets. He didn't say that with us.
Brother, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn he sat right up there and said, "Let me pick them groceries."
No.
But all jokes aside, it don't matter where he said it. Bill Parcells meant it. It doesn't matter where he said it. Bill Parcells meant it. And once Bill Parcells realized that you, Jerry Jones, were going to do what you, Jerry Jones, wanted to do, he threw up the deuces and got up out of there.
Okay, sir. All right.
Hey,
okay,
Q,
well.
appreciate you calling in. A lot of people
Appreciate
don't want to do that.
I appreciate you. God bless you, man. Much love.
You as well, big dog. You as well. All right, Toxic.
All right.
Let me bring you back in, man. You still there? I think I muted you. My bad. Or did you mute yourself?
Very much still here.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
you got a chance to listen to that. I'm surprised you ain't jump in on something.
You know,
Wait.
first off, I want to say this, Quentin. Thank you for calling in. I'm not here to attack you because we're in this same shit sandwich together. Okay?
Right, and
I think
that's a very good
we
point.
both want the same thing. Okay. So please don't take this personally. Please come back, hit the like button. I don't want you to feel like I'm personally attacking you. I think there's a definite difference between the philosophical definition of leadership. And to give you my background, Quentin, if you're still here, I am an Army veteran, and leadership was beaten in my head quite literally. And if there's a book that I recommend, it's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko. If you don't know who Jocko is, he's the definition of a Navy SEAL. The point of the case is this. The loneliest person on this ship is the captain, okay? Because you get all the blame and all the praise. And if you're going to piecemeal and say, well, he did this and he did that, if you are going to stand up there and say, I'm the best general manager, nothing gets through me. I make all the final decisions, and you're saying I'm the guy, then you get the blame no matter what. For instance, I had a soldier one time that got a DUI. I was on leave, and you know who got his ass reamed out? I did, because I'm his leader. And what do leaders do? They take, here's the word of the day, accountability for things that is under their AO. Now, the Jones have been running this entire franchise for years. And you bring up Jimmy Johnson, and you brought up all the good stuff. What did also Jerry do to Jimmy Johnson? He undermined him in front of his staff at a party, walked up to him in front of all of his staff while they were celebrating the Super Bowl, and he said he was a little drunk, and said 500 coaches could do what you just did.
Disrespected him.
And also, he undermined him all the time when it came to drafting, too, because Jimmy Johnson is said to have revolutionized the draft with the board, which we now see today on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones made a point to have the phone in his hand, so that way when the cameras were in the war room, it wasn't Jimmy making the pick, it was Jerry making the pick, so people thought he was a football guy. Now, football is a game of inches, just like in real life. If you look at the most successful companies, it's the little minute details that give you the best rate of return, because it's what makes your culture, and when you do this repeated practice, it just grows and grows. And what I mean by that is when you constantly undermine your coaches and your players see you undermine your coaches, and they see the charade and the circus, and they start to see that football is not the primary focus here, then you're not going to get the results that you want. It's plain and simple. You don't see other franchises move like this because they want to win games. The Cowboys want to win games, but it's not their primary focus, and they're two very different things.
Yep.
In the NFL, you need it all. Talent is not enough. You brought up 13 Pro Bowlers. That's cute. I will also say you had a head coach in Wade Phillips that you walked all over publicly. You gave him an offensive coordinator he didn't want, but you praised in the media constantly. Oh, and at the same time was out there endorsing your team leader and Tony Romo going to Mexico with his team captains. I'm saying to you, it's these little minute details that separates the good from the fucking great.
Crazy.
You think, that's the part that always gets me. The key ingredient to this entire thing is leadership. And with great leadership, you have accountability. You can't piecemeal this together. You can't have great talent, but then do this bad. You can't say, hey, we're great at drafting, but we're just not going to do anything in free agency. doesn't work like that. You need it all. Because I've heard from many NFL players who have played and coached, winning, period, is hard. Brian Broaddus says it all the time. It is damn hard. So why
don't make it harder?
Make it harder?
Yes,
exactly.
That's my whole point in this whole situation is that your general managers constantly come out and say we're going to make it harder. Quite literally said,
yes,
Dak Prescott's going to have to do more with less. Not a near nada other organization is publicly saying we are purposefully going to make it harder on you players and coaches. And the coach is not even a guy that gives you a leg up because the way we believe to build teams is the best way. When your way has shown for 28 seasons, because Q don't like when you say 30, 28 seasons has not worked. I don't know how we can try to pick and pride at these little, and go back to 1994. What are we doing here? It's been 28 years. 28 years of failure. Most organizations, if they have went 20 plus years of failure, they go through multiple general managers to try something different to win. And what happens? Man, you fall into what is my man's name over in Detroit, right? You fall into a Bill Polian, right? You fall into you know what I'm saying? Whomever it may be, that's a general manager that gets you over the hump or what have you, right? Or that's a culture changer when it comes to coaches or whatever. The Cowboys are reluctant to do something that goes against what they believe. And when they do, right, and some would argue, B. Bird bring this up, the whole hiring of Bill Parcells wasn't about really trying to win. It was about getting a big name to open up their new stadium, which, you know, you can go down that rabbit hole if you want. But when they did go against the grain and hired a guy like that who does provide confrontation and pushback, you saw a cultural shift. But the minute Jerry stepped on and over him, he said, I'm not doing this. And he left. Who's to say? Maybe Bill could have got something out of this. That 07 team? Are you kidding me? Maybe Parcells could have got a ring. Maybe we win 3 or 4 or 5 rings with Jimmy if Jerry doesn't do Jerry. You hear Troy Aikman bring it up when he's talking to Joe Buck. He was really frustrated at Jerry for how this thing played out. Now, he also said, I didn't like how Jimmy handled it, you know, because that was his guy, recruited him, Oklahoma, I think, or recruited him and all that. Was it Oklahoma? Not Oklahoma. That was Barry Switzer. I'm sorry. But that was his guy. He won rings with him, what have you. But he said, I didn't like how he handled it, but I didn't like what Jerry Jones did either.
Exactly.
Could you imagine if he stayed?
A big misnomer that I hear a lot is Jimmy and Jerry are not equals because Jerry was Jimmy's boss. So when you have two really alpha males trying to be in the same environment, and Jimmy went through the ringer from the U and coming all the way up into the NFL. He knew what he needed to do. He had his style. He had a plan. And the thing that people miss also is back in 1989, the Cowboys were losing money. I think it was around $1 million a month. So Jerry's primary focus right away was to get them profitable. So Jimmy had more, quote, free reign to do the things that he did. Once they became profitable, Jerry, the general manager, started to then put his stamp on this franchise. It was never Jerry stepped back and then stepped in. So that is a key fact about this entire relationship. And to give Quentin credit, you're absolutely right. Jimmy didn't help himself either. But at the same time, when you have a coach that you called a friend, by the way, they shared rooms together in the University of Arkansas, their national championship team, and you still think that it is acceptable to publicly humiliate the leaders on your team and then expect your team to still compete at a high level, I don't know what to tell you, man. It just doesn't work. You can see videos of Troy Aikman with the Barry Switzer era yelling, where are the coaches at? Where are the coaches at?
Right there.
And that right there.
And not just from Troy, brother. You hear these same things from Darren Woodson. If you go back and listen to some of the conversations that we had years ago with Darren, Woody talked about how there was a drastic difference. How once Jimmy left and it was Barry, they were leaning on the guys like Darren Woodson and Troy Aikman and Mike to basically run this team. And Switzer, and it's well documented, right? Switzer was just kind of just along for the ride, and the famous words, right? The famous words when they hold that Super Bowl up. We did it. We did it. We did it our way, baby. We did it our way. We did it.
Yep.
Yeah. Our way is really Jerry's way. He was, I bet he was more proud of winning that Super Bowl with Barry Switzer than any other one, because he thought that I know what I'm doing. In reality, that was obviously Jimmy's team, led by those veterans and those Hall of Famers. And even Troy said it. We were not as good in 95 as we were in 94 and so forth. And then that's when you get the infamous, Troy Aikman talking about we're the coaches on the sideline, and people are believing this is what we need from our players when they don't understand. Troy publicly has said, I was not like that under Jimmy Johnson. I was the good guy. Yep. I didn't have to be the guy that had to yell and scream at all the players and yell and scream at the coaches. Jimmy did that, and I was the guy that said, hey, man, come here. He's doing this because he cares. But if you do this, you will be in it. But you know what I mean? He was that type of leader. So there's so much more context to it than just, a play here and a play there. At the end of the day, Toxic, if you have leadership that's been around a failing or flailing organization or business for almost 3 decades, and you have multiple different management and players or workers, I don't know how you don't look at the ownership or leadership in that case and say, this is because of you.
100% agree. And the last thing I'll say is, again, us fans, we need to stick together because we all want the same thing. I've been in recovery for 5 years next Thursday. And I will say, when you are sick and you're in a toxic relationship, thank you, sir. It's really easy to say, well, you just stop, or we're victims, guys. Like, we are in this together. We are victims. And I say that in a sense that they want us to turn it against each other because they're just going to use it as headlines, and they're just going to have you keep clicking. So that way you keep seeing these reports about laughing at Cowboy fans. I'm telling you all right now, this family, the only change that will ever really happen with this family is that they will continue to raise prices on their merchandise and games. A lot of you younger fans, you deserve so much better, but I promise you, I hope it gets better in the short term, but in the meantime, we need to stick together because we're all we got right now. And it breaks my heart because this franchise has gotten me through some really shitty days, and it breaks my heart that the standards have dropped this drastically. And the last thing I'll say is, you're doing the 717 proud. Love your show, and I will always be coming back. Thank you all.
You're the best, man. Appreciate it. Can we get fire emojis in the chat for Toxic Tom? And to be real, a little golf clap for Q because he did have the courage to call in and give his take on the whole situation. But appreciate those two fellas calling in. Appreciate you, Toxic. 5 years is strong, man. I gotta give you a shoot bomb right there, man. 5 years is strong. You are one of them ones when it comes to calling into this show. Been around for a long time here, and you are greatly appreciated. We've had conversations off air via email and whatnot too. So you are greatly appreciated, Toxic. But man, I really can't say it any better than that. But he said something at the end that I was trying to hammer home with Q. It's sad how the standards have lowered here. We parade around 12-5 as if it's a damn Super Bowl ring. There are a lot of Cowboy fans, in all honesty, jokes aside, right, that are older than me, that have been through the mud, can vividly remember, certain things, whether it be media-wise, team-wise, whatever. You've seen if it was the 70s Super Bowls, you've seen the 90s, you lived through those Super Bowls. When was winning regular season games the prize? Not even a consolation prize, the prize. When I hear a fan tell me, forget the playoffs for a second, I don't really want to listen anymore. I don't want to listen anymore. The whole point is to win in the playoffs. So if I'm winning with Dollar General, Price Right, Clarence Rack, free agents in the regular season, what happens when you go up against some dudes and some coaches in the playoffs that they didn't go get from Price Right? Price Right is some uptown from where I'm from. So Dollar General, Clarence Rack. What happens when you go up against teams that are as talented or more talented than you, or can outcoach you, or has a combination of both? It's beyond signing Price Right free agents. It's about making the right coaching decision. It's about not being a team who's scared to make a big move. I wish he was still here. The Cowboys haven't received a compensation higher than a 5th round pick since 1995. And the only reason why I can't go back further because I don't have the actual proof deep into that. But I'm pretty sure it goes back to Herschel Walker. I'm sorry. I can't look at how this has turned out and not look at these two as the main culprits. That is just, it's disingenuous if you look at it any other way. Especially when, if you watch this show, each and every week we talk about what the players did right or wrong. We break down the X's and O's. We talk about all of that during the season. I tell Toxic all the damn time, hey Toxic, it's season time. Not much we can really say about Jerry and them. They're not making any more moves. Off season, we on their ass because they need to make XYZ to make the season better for the Cowboys and try to get over the hump. During the season, it's a wrap. This is what we're dealing with. So now let's figure out how we can win. Let's figure out who needs to be better. Let's figure out who's playing well. We hold all these dudes accountable over here. But at the end of the day, who's pulling the trigger? Let's get to some super chats. Good conversation today. Good conversation today. We got a gang of them today. Okay, I see you. Marcus Dub, I already read his earlier, but appreciate the 10. We don't wipe them 304s. He dropped 2 and said, we really brought in Zeke to be a locker room guy. Yeah, they did like him in the locker room. You might be on something. They did like him in the locker room, but I hope it was more than that.
Super chat.
Lee dropped 5 and said, Steve Phony. I like that one. Quote, the Baker's Dozen Jones. I would rather have 13 sour pies than one really tasty one. Yes, that is him.
Super chat.
Keystone Cowboy dropped 10 and said, regular season titles is nasty work. It's nasty, Keystone. It's nasty. That kind of hurt my heart when he said, forget the playoffs. What about the regular season? And I'm just like, whoa. Are we the Cowboys? 5 championships, 8 Super Bowl appearances? Are we the Jaguars? Thought we were the Cowboys. We will Cowboy drop 2.
Super chat.
Drop 2 and said front office needs to dump their our guys philosophy. And I didn't even bring up the buzzword culture. There's no way you can look at the Cowboys culture and be like, man, this is great culture. The culture is the Joneses. Don't take it from a fan. Take it from players that still work for the Cowboys, that have played for the Cowboys, moved on. Guys that were at different places where they won Super Bowls and went to the Cowboys and said, what the hell is this? You mean to tell me that this is okay? It's not okay, man. It's not okay. And you're never going to sell me that it's okay unless the Joneses win their way. Well, we're still counting. We're still counting. So I had a feeling this would happen. We're supposed to get a first look at the Panthers, but we're not going to do that today. We'll take a look at them tomorrow. We'll just do both offense and defense because it's the Panthers. I'm not going to hit them with the Rams. It's the Rams, bro, but it's the Panthers, bro. But we'll do our due diligence and we'll take a look at them, man. Appreciate Q and Toxic for calling in, giving us a good conversation here. Look in the chat. We got Law. Law said, in Jerry Jones' eyes, the Cowboys are the 6th winningest team in NFL since 1996. Jerry believed they the best franchise in the last 30 years, right? That's what Jerry gonna believe. I thought I saw somebody else in here too. Let me scroll on my phone, my bad. Yep, Boss Cowboy dropped up in here too, said call of the year. Yeah, man. Toxic is like that. Toxic is that's why I couldn't wait for him to call in. We are a corporate marketing team, not a team about championships. 100. And final thoughts on it. I appreciate and respect the older fans who do bring up the 90s because they have an emotional attachment to it in a way that a lot of younger fans do not. But the game is different than it was. So when you say, well, this guy did XYZ in 91, the game is different in every aspect of team building, and you can't do that. Hence why we bring up 28 years. And in reality, you can say since salary cap, for real. And the way the salary cap has maneuvered is also different. It's different than it was the first 10 years, than it's been the last, 15, 20. Please do me a favor, hit the like button on the way out. Swain said his PO was here. Please hit the like button on the way out. Share this thing. I'm with you, JL. I'm tired of hearing about the 90s as well, man. Trying to win. And I want my franchise to do everything in its power to win. That's all. I watch other organizations do everything in their power to win. And look, if they fail, at least they attempted everything in their power to win. I would not knock the Cowboys if they did everything in their power to win. I got one question for those who put the cape on for them. Do you believe the Cowboys do everything in their power to win? I'm going to leave it at that. Make sure I head on over to Law Nations podcast. He's probably about to go live. Shouts out to Boss for being in the building as well.
Push the goddamn
We're going to hit this button. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down this Panthers game. Let's talk about the 70s Cowboys. That's what they want to do, Willie T. They want to talk about the 90s and 77 and, And it's because of Jerry and Steven, because they ain't giving us nothing to talk about, man. Love y'all. We out of here. Peace.
Bomb Squad!